Hey guys, what's going on? Steven back again, and I'm back with another 40k video from Major Kill. So about 2 weeks ago, Major Kill put out a poll asking what the topic for his would-be next video. And the topic that I picked ended up winning. So the topic for today's video is top 5 biggest battles in Warhammer 40k. I'm not sure what those battles could be, but I have a feeling it's probably going to involve either Tyranids, Orcs, the Guard, or maybe Imperium if you decide to clump Space Marines, Guard, Sisters, all of them as one. But there's only one way to find out what these battles are, and that's to check out the video. Alright, so on to the video. Here we go.
G'day guys and gal, there is no shortages of war and battle in Warhammer 40k.
Got that right.
The main vibe of the setting. Superhumans ripping each other's spines out.
Yep.
Titans the size of buildings blaring their horns as they turbo penetrate their enemies with their volcano guns. Millions and billions of infantry lasgunning each other's tits out underneath all of it. It makes for a pretty good time. But just how big do these battles get? It's common knowledge that GW sucks when it comes to war in numbers and scaling, with key intergalactic conquests like the Ulanor Crusade being smaller than conflicts we have had on our own humble Earth. But some battles have escaped this mathematical retardation to give us absolutely bonkers amounts of combatants, and those battles are worth talking about. Before we get started, I get it. Losing a bunch of weight and changing the Warhammer stereotype is hard. Cooking food takes too long and doesn't taste great if you're not a chef. Ordering food is convenient but expensive and unhealthy. I bet most of you guys are just crunching high-carb snacks, and I don't blame you. There doesn't seem to be much better options. Until today! Partnering with Factor, I present to you high-quality, high-protein, great macro and delicious microwave meals. Microwave meals slap. Just pop them in and bam! A gourmet meal is yours with no prep or cleanup.
Vast Imperial assault on Orc Empire of the Greenskin Overlord, Erlak Erg.
You never get sick of it. How it works is that you choose what type of food you want.
Millions of orcs slain, hundreds of thousands more fled the Ulanor system. Overwhelming Imperial victory.
No matter what your situation in life is, there is no reason
Orc population on Ulanor eradicated. Overall Greenskin population in the Milky Way galaxy devastated. Imperial triumph held on Ulanor, marking high point of the Great Crusade.
50. The code will auto-apply from the link, and you'll get 50%
Core is promoted to Imperial War Master. Emperor of Mankind withdraws from the Crusade to begin secret Imperial Webway project on Terra. Oh wow, so that was the outcome.
Wow. Today we'll go over the 5 largest battles in Warhammer 40k. The size of the battle won't just be determined by the amount of entities. For example, a 10,000 Titan battle would be way larger than a 1 million size infantry battle, so it won't be an exact science, but I'll do my best. I'll also be referring to battles, not wars. However, wars that do end up just being one big fuck-off battle still count. Let's get into it. We're going to start it off with a non-Imperial or Horus Heresy battle, because I'm feeling a little bit silly today. The second battle of Krafeld Yanden against the High Fleet Kraken. It may be surprising to see the Eldar on this list of largest battles, since their population isn't exactly brimming right now. But when the population of an entire Krafeld is under threat, then that entire Krafeld becomes combatants. Is generally considered to be in the 50 million plus range based on the Krafeld's size and other general factors. For Yanden, which is a major Krafeld, or was,
well then again, like you said, everyone becomes a combatant.
The vast majority of which will be more than capable of taking up arms and the role of guardian or militia. Tyranids, on the other hand, are known for their overwhelming swarm tactics, more or less always vastly outnumbering their opponents. We aren't given a proper number of the Tyranid force, but it would need to be in the high hundreds of millions to low billions to be able to swarm.
Oh yeah, there's no way you can count how many Tyranids.
Yeah, big fuck-off battle. It began with a huge void engagement, as thousands
of
ships
little Ripper swarms
skirmished with and destroyed a shitload of Tyranid vessels. The Krafeld ships were superior in nearly every way. However, like a slow battle of attrition, they started losing more and more ships as the High Fleet adapted to their tactics and wore them down. It was like a literal wave hitting the shore. Each one got progressively bigger and stronger until finally the Tyranids launched their first real wave, smashing through the Eldar fleet and finally landing in the Krafeld. With the hive mind finally figuring out how to get onto the Eldar ship, it started spamming huge wave after wave until the craftworld was flooded with Tyranids. There was a non-stop battle all over the ship as millions of Guardians fought alongside thousands of Aspect Warriors. There was even a number of Phoenix Lords involved, holding key points for the Eldar.
Wow,
the
Phoenix
Eldar
Lords.
performed a massive counterattack led by its avatar of Cain, but in response, the Tyranids launched their final wave, which smashed against the Eldar and drove them back, leaving them all in small pockets of scattered resistance. The avatar was brought down when the Swarm Lord appeared and sent 12 Carnifexes to go fuck him up. It was the ultimate bitch act, but you know, it does make sense.
Wow,
Everything was
12 Carnifexes to bring down the avatar
Cain.
Cain.
Exiled Prince Uriel returned
That's
in the 11th hour with a huge
pretty
Eldar
crazy.
fleet. He annihilated the Tyranid fleet around the ship, landed on the craft world, picked up a super cursed spear, and shanked the Swarm Lord through the brain with it. With the Swarm Lord dead and the fleet crushed, there was no more Tyranid synapse creatures alive. Hence, the Nids on the craft world lost cohesion and became easy pickings for Uriel's forces and the surviving
It's kind of
Eldar.
crazy that just
All
one
in all,
Hive Tyrant
4/5
just
of
commanded the
craft
whole
world
thing,
died,
so you kill
representing
him.
around 75 million plus dead
That's it. You'd
Eldar,
figure you'd have,
with
like,
Hive Fleet Kraken
maybe
being
a couple of
crushed,
them just in case
representing
something like that
hundreds of millions,
happens.
if not billions of dead Tyranids. Now that is a fucking battle. This removed Hive Fleet Kraken from the list of major threats and turned Yanden into a ghost ship full of loose spirits and Wraithguard. Okay, fine, I'll do a Horus Heresy Space Marine pew pew one now. The Istvan Drop Site Massacre. In
Oh,
terms
I've heard of
the
this
battles,
one.
this
Well,
wasn't
I've heard
that
of it.
big.
Or
There
at
was
least the
like
name of
maybe
it.
1.5 to 2 million people involved total. However, since most of these people were Space Marines, and since the battle was so violent and quick that it has been forever scarred into the Imperium's soul, it's worth chatting about. When Horus declared jihad on the Emperor, he positioned the Death Guard, Emperor's Children, and World Eaters with him. The Imperium sent the Iron Hands, Raven Guard, and Salamanders as the first wave, who would then be supported by the Alpha Legion, Iron Warriors, Night Lords, and Wordbearers. Yeah, that went well. The battle started off its nut. Basically, 300,000 or so loyalists charged against 300,000 traitors. Remember, the traitors had purged about 100,000 potential loyalists from their own ranks, so each of their legions was a bit smaller. It was absolute carnage. The majority of the battle was a melee fight, with Ferrus Manus spearheading a fuck-off charge into the heart of the enemy, his hate and rage for Fulgrim driving him onwards. At this point, the rate of casualties was pretty similar. The Loyalists had all of their Primarchs deployed and cutting through the front lines, whilst the Traitors had special armor-piercing bolt rounds that were cutting down the Loyalists. However, the real spice came when the Loyalists, quotation mark, reinforcements arrived. The Loyalist Vanguard, which was the Salamanders, Raven Guard, and Iron Hands, begun to pull back, other than Ferrus, who was fighting Fulgrim. However, those Loyalist reinforcements were actually traitors, who waited until the Vanguard was within range, then unleashed a barrage of hundreds of thousands of bolters, killing thousands in seconds. Ferrus was then killed by Fulgrim, Vulcan was taken prisoner, and Corax escaped.
Wow.
About 90 to 95% of the Loyalist forces were killed, with only a small Raven Guard army led by Corvus escaping, as well as a handful of pockets from the Salamanders and Iron Hands. It was pretty fucked how many died so quickly. There were even moments where the traitors hesitated before firing on the Vanguard, as they were like, wow, this is so fucked up, what are we doing?
Really? They hesitated?
Anyway. Even at the Siege of Terra, we didn't see this many Astartes fighting, and it remains the largest ever Space Marine battle ever fought, with there being roughly 1.1 million Astartes involved. Alright, let's get away from that yucky Space Marine circle jerk and back to some Xeno and Xeno stuff.
Here we go, orcs.
Category. Sometimes the two birds with one stone saying can really fucking backfire. Inquisitor Cryptman has found this out the hard way, as after directing High Fleet Leviathan into a massive orc empire, he never really considered that whoever won would become so powerful that they would emerge as a galactic superpower.
Orcs versus
Although the
Nids.
Octarius War refers to multiple battles, you could consider the entire war one battle, as the orcs love fighting all the time, and the Tyranids don't need to rest and resupply. The corpses of the orcs were providing a buckload of biomass for the Nids, whilst the corpses of the orcs and the Nids were creating great places for orc fungal spores to grow into mature orcs. Both sides
never-ending battle.
Warriors, and were in a constant state of war with thousands dying every minute. There are 1,440 minutes in a day, so every day there were millions of combat deaths. To make it even more hectic, both the Imperium, the Eldar, and Chaos had a vested interest in Octarius, making things even more hectic. Eventually, the Tyranids were able to kill the Overfiend of Octarius, the orc leader of all the orc forces, which turned the tide for the Tyranids to achieve victory. It's said that the huge power boost the Tyranids are getting in 10th edition is mostly due to the Octarius War, where the Nids have gained a fuckload of biomass and experience. It's impossible to say the final death count, but with the war raging for a few years, and every day being one continuous battle of titanic proportions, we could easily say the death toll is in the billions, if not trillions.
Oh, without a doubt.
Holy shit. In terms of raw combatant count, this is easily the largest engagement in all of 40k. However,
could tie up that hive fleet
proportions of the fall of Cadia.
And the orcs.
Cadia is a completely militarized fortress world
never ending.
where every man, woman, child is taught how to shoot something in the head. With a population of 850 million people, that's a lot of guys and girls that can rule your day. So when the full might of the Black Legion and the Iron Warriors, supported by thousands of World Eaters, Empress Children, Death Guard, Night Lords, Alpha Legion, and Wordbearers, backed up by millions of demons and countless cultists invaded, you knew we were in for a hell of a treat. Similar to how the Orcs and the Tyranids don't really recognize ceasefires and sleep, the demonic onslaught never let up once it had begun. So the entire fall of Cadia was literally one big fuck-off planet-wide battle. To make it even more
just imagine seeing
the
that.
Phalanx, which is the Imperial Fist flagship, arrived to help Cadia alongside Saint Celestine and a bunch of Space Marines taken from a shitload of chapters. Even Trazyn the Infinite got involved,
just throw everything at it
to repair the Cadian pylons that, in theory, could close the Eye of Terror and beat Chaos. Trazyn also brought a few Pokeballs that contained Horus Heresy-era Space Marines, as well as a Custodian. Abaddon himself even got involved in the battle, fighting Saint Celestine, Inquisitor Greyfax, and Lord Creed himself.
Really?
Impaled by Saint Celestine and been forced to withdraw. The pylons were working, Abaddon withdrew, and it seemed as if the Imperium would win. But then Abaddon threw a Blackstone fortress at the world, breaking it and fucking everything.
He had a temper tantrum.
Overall, the majority of the 850 million people died. A fuckload of demons were banished, with a ton of Space Marines meeting their end, although some did end up evacuating. Overall, a planet-wide battle involving a shitload of superpowered forces.
The planet broke before the guard.
And demons. It was quite a big affair. A quick honourable mention is the battle for Beta Gammon, the largest Titan-on-Titan conflict ever recorded. However, as this war took place over a few months and had numerous breaks in between the fighting, it doesn't really count, but it is still worth mentioning since over 1,000 Titans threw down during it. And finally, could it be anything else? The Siege of Terror. Surprisingly, the amount of combatants here isn't as high as you'd think. There were only 3 diminished loyalist legions, a handful of custodians and sisters
of all places, Terror would have been huge,
Titans, and a few million army soldiers and Mechanicum units.
It's because they got custodians and stuff like that.
Only really had the Sons of Horus, Death Guard, Empress Children, and Iron Warriors. The majority of the Wordbearers, Night Lords, and Alpha Legion weren't even involved, with most of the Thousand Sons also being dead from the fall of Prospero. However, it was the importance and epicness of the siege, combined with the fact that it was literally non-stop warfare for months, that makes it so epic and large scale. The defenders had years of preparation, led by the greatest siege defense expert in the galaxy and basically limitless fortification. The traders had endless tides of demons, as Primarch took on Primarch in the most epic duels in 40k history. So whilst the actual
this would be a cool battle to see on like live action or something.
Dudes were sieging a continent-sized planet after all. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then Patreon is the place to be. Well, there's not only a bunch of Battle Mace 40 million hentai, but also a bunch of live action nude cosplays. Hit the subscribe button, then hit the real subscribe button for more large content.
His Patreon channel's gotta be a hoot.
Next one. Peace.
His Patreon's gotta be funny. Yeah, so there we go. There are the top 5 biggest battles in Warhammer 40k. Very interesting. I'm kind of surprised. Terra wasn't as big as we thought. Then again, we got like the Custodians and stuff like that, and how powerful and strong they are. And then like a bunch of like Space Marine chapters were like sent away. Like didn't Horus send away the Dark Angels and the Blood Angels away like as far as they could, just to like keep them away and just get them out of the way and stuff like that. So they were so far away that something like this happened, they wouldn't be able to get back in time. I don't know. I thought that's what happened. Horus was afraid of the Dark Angels and the Blood Angels, of how strong they were, so let's just send them out as far as we can, just to remove them from the picture, if we will. Yeah, the Titan battle, that sounds pretty cool too. 1,000 Titans, that must have been something to see. Obviously the battle for Cadia, so many like cool things. Like, I'd love to see like, I don't know, like something like this, like I don't know how you do it, but like live action, You know, I don't know, whatever Games Workshop's doing with supposedly Amazon and Henry Cavill, and I don't know, but just to see like some of these battles just would be so cool. You know, I don't know how like the story would be a little interesting and stuff like that, but to see like some of these moments just playing out in live action, that would just be awesome. That'd be so cool. Once again, not surprised with Tyranids and Orcs. That battle must have been extremely interesting. I mean, that is one way to tie up the Orcs and that Hive fleet. Just send them right after each other, you know. Orcs will just keep popping up, and Tyranids never sleep, and just continue to you know, come forth and stuff like that. I mean, that's one way to tie those two up. I mean, granted, yes, like I said, whoever won, you know, it's going to suck for the other one. Drop Site Massacre, I've heard of it many times. I just didn't know anything about it. You know, I've heard the name, you know, oh, the Drop Site Massacre and stuff like that. I just didn't know what went down, but now I do. And yeah, that's definitely a massacre. I mean, Jesus, just imagine having all those loyalists just, you know, there, and then you think you got loyalist reinforcements coming in, and they're not loyalists, you know. Man, that's just rough. That is a pure massacre, you know. And then this one here was pretty interesting too. You know, the Eldar, Eandon, you know, against Hive Fleet, what was it, Leviathan? That must have been very cool. I did not know, well, I shouldn't say I didn't know. I did know, you know, Eldar were a vast race and stuff like that at the time. Now they're, you know, slowly dying and stuff. But yeah, this must have been one hell of a battle. And just imagine seeing the Avatar Kane against 12 Carnifexes. 12 Carnifexes to bring down the Avatar Kane. Damn. Like, that's insane. 12 Carnifexes against one Avatar Kane. Not much I'm sure the Avatar could have done. You know, 12 on 1, not really much of a fair fight. But, yeah, I mean, something like that must have been, depending on what side you're on, a sight to see. You know, just imagine seeing this Avatar just fighting 12 Carnifexes. Must have been something cool. But yeah, there we are. So those are the 5 biggest battles in Warhammer 40k. What do you think of the list? Do you think there's something, anything he missed? I don't know. I don't know if there's any other battles you could think of that maybe he forgot. Let me know. And yeah, what do you think about Siege of Terror? Do you think, you know, I don't think he said like numbers and stuff like that, like how big the Siege of Terror is, but you know, kind of have a feeling like it should have been like a huge, massive battle, but I guess it wasn't as big as we thought. So yeah, so there we go. So like I said, there's the top 5 biggest battles. Leave me all your thoughts and comments. What do you guys think about the list? Do you agree with it? Do you think there's something he forgot? Let me know. And other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that thumbs up button. That'd be awesome. Remember, feel free to subscribe to my channel. Follow me on social media. Links in the description box below. Come join me over on Discord. There should be a link in the description box to come over and join. I am trying to get more active over on Discord, so if you want to come and chat more instead of in the comment section, feel free to do that. You can post suggestions for different topics, different videos and stuff like that. If there's any other channels you want me to check out, you know, come join me on Discord. And on that, yeah, just stick around. More videos are on the way, and I will see you guys next time.